Welcome to the BILLCAST.
Now that we've escaped our prison cell, I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
I'm Billy. I'm Billy from my channel VISNAWesome on YouTube or the local Woodhaven GameStop in Michigan. One of those two.
And what's your position at GameStop?
I'm a store leader, mentor and training, I guess, is the new term. But technically a store leader, but I'm learning to mentor people too. Kind of weird. Yeah.
So the question is, where do I know Billy from? Well, I know him from his previous employment at the GameStop just south of there, just about 20 minutes south.
Where we used to talk about everything. It was so fun. I miss it.
Yeah, I'd come in and we talk about GameCube games and all that good stuff. Our first topic is latest pickups currently playing, and I'll let Will start it off.
Okay. Well, as I said last week, I'm playing The Witcher 2. I'm also playing... What game did you get me, Chris? What was the special gift?
Let's recap. Fire Emblem 7!
Yes, I'm starting out on the Wii U, and I've only played the prologue so far, but it's pretty fun. I like the tile-based system. It's cool. The girl's a little kinky. The little innuendos.
The best Fire Emblem games.
Yeah.
He's talking about Lindis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's... Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. She said she found me unconscious, and I woke up mysteriously in her bed. So I'm just saying, that's how the game starts.
God, I wonder who wrote that. What a great start to that game.
Mm-hmm. Then she wants you to give her the strategy to
exactly. I was going to keep
brigands.
Taking pictures of it. The dialogue is hysterical to me. So take me with me. Teach me all your ways.
What better start to a game could you ask for, Will?
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah.
I guess if you weren't looking for that kind of game, maybe that would be a reason not to like that.
No, I enjoy it immensely now.
How about you, Billy? What you got? Currently playing latest pickups?
I gotta say, man, I just picked up Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and I'm on my third playthrough.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And it's even worse because I haven't been home at all. Like, I've literally, every chance I've had, I've been either on vacation or at someone else's store. And, now I just got home and, I already burned, 97 hours into it.
Holy cow.
I haven't slept at all. But it's been really fun, though. It's a good time.
That's
like coffee.
That's like my Persona 4 Golden. I'm, on playthrough number 4 at this point. I can't get this light to agree with my forehead. I think we're good now. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, it looks good. Nice and shiny.
I'm always fighting the shiny balding forehead. So
I give you guys credit, man. I've been messing around with my light setting for months, and finally, last video, I was like, this looks fine. I don't hate myself.
This is fine. Everything's on fire. Yeah, it's like that meme.
Yeah, my picture is so small that I can't tell if it looked terrible, so it's great.
Yeah, Will just wears a hat every time. Nobody knows if he has hair or not.
Oh,
mm-hmm. That's how I go.
Will, I was 1 second, man. I was 1 second.
He's pulling his hair out
I was like, man, should I wear a hat for this? I don't want to look dumb. I'm like, but yeah, wing it. We'll wing it.
I remember, Billy, one time I came to the GameStop that you previously worked at, and he was literally stocking shelves and helping customers. So he's just profusely sweating, doing all this stuff at the same time. And I'm like, Billy, you're the most dedicated worker I've ever seen at a GameStop in my life.
As much as everyone kills that company, I love it. I love seeing everything come in and out, man. I would never give this job up. It's so much fun.
Well, yeah, if you love gaming, GameStop is a fantastic place to work. I would think personally, but maybe
it is.
I'm sure there's differing opinions, but
oh, definitely. There's good and bad on either side. I agree with. I hear out most opinions, and I agree with either side, but. Personal fun. God, oh my God, all the retro stuff I get to see on the daily. Jeez.
Yeah. Did you ever get your Path of Radiance yet, Billy?
Oh my God, listen. So, okay, fun story. We bought a house. All right. So we moved in And so I had to get rid of, like, I was restarting my GameCube collection, which, by the way, I collect GameCube games. I love them. But so I sold off a decent amount, but I started rebuying them. But anyway, long story short, I had Path of Radiance, and I was trading everything in, and I realized, I'm like, man, like, what am I missing? I'm like, where's my Path of Radiance? And I didn't give them the game. I have the game, but I gave them the case, and they didn't tell me.
Oh, no.
So they seen it, and they went, screw it, and threw it away. And I'm like, the original cover art and everything, man, it hurts my heart.
That sucks. Because even just the case, like $50+ bucks.
Yep.
And that's without the manual or the Nintendo Power, the cautionary sticker. It's literally just that. It's like $50. I'm like, oh my God. I'm so glad I got this in 05.
Oh God, it hurts my heart every day.
That was the reason I wanted a GameCube, was the fact that Path of Radiance was coming out. I'm like an OG Fire Emblem fan in the West.
It's got so many good memories. That game, like, that series is so iconic now, and it's crazy that it wasn't at one point. Like, it's hard to remember a time that Fire Emblem wasn't as popular as it was.
I remember.
It was last week for me.
That's true, Will. That's true.
Anyway, so now that we're on to, I haven't given my latest pickups. I have like no latest pickups as far as games go, but I am going to be pre-ordering Starfarers of Catan, the board game, the remake that's coming out in a month or two. I am extremely excited for that. And I will be picking up Three Houses at some point in the future when I get a Switch.
Yeah, you're gonna
maybe I'll drive up
one
for,
too, right?
Maybe I'll drive up just up to the GameStop where Billy works just for some old memory's sake. Get my Switch there.
I don't recognize anybody anymore.
Oh, man.
There.
Okay, now we can get into the next topic. All right, so Billy, this is a question from, we actually have a fan question, and since he knew that you were going to be on here, he has it for you. He wants to know what the difference between a prestige GameStop and a standard GameStop is.
That's easy. So first off, before I answer this, I am terrible at getting prestige because I forget to ask people. But a prestige GameStop is one that's like really highly rated. So like when people ask you for the survey at the end, and they go, they're like, yeah, you know, if you want to take the survey, that actually means something. Like most of the time, like it's like, whatever. To us, if we get, I think it's 1.5% of all of our guests rate us, and it's all like, and it's highly rated, we get special name tags, which is cool for like us. We're always dopey about it, at least my store.
Swag.
Then like we get 1 day where it's a buy two get one free day, like so on all pre-owned stuff, which is cool. And the reason I push for it is because like that works with retro stuff too. So like you can do that on the website, and like if you order it through the store, you can do it through the store, and it works out really well. But yeah, so like if everybody rates the store highly, you'll hit prestige, which we should be on our way to hitting prestige this time around. I made it a focus this month, so hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. We wish you the best luck in your endeavor there, Billy.
Thanks.
Maybe we'll take a visit up there next time Will's in town. Take a drive up
definitely.
I'd love to meet you guys. Well, I'd meet you, Chris, but I'd love to meet you.
Yeah, I've met you before.
Oh, okay.
I was really, really sad when I found out you were no longer at the GameStop. I was like, hey, where's Billy? And I think Jordan was there, and he's like, oh, Billy moved up north a little bit. Like, man.
It hurt so bad because it was like 1 week of notice. They were like they called me at the DIA with my fiance, and they were like, hey, do you want to move up north? And I'm like, nope. And they were like, oh, okay. And then the next day they were like, you're moving up north. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It is closer to where you live, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like now where my apartment was, it was a literal 30-second drive. Now it's like 10 minutes.
At least that's nice, because I know it was a little further of a hike for you before.
Yeah, but I miss it, man. Like,
so the topic you're probably most interested in now, retro gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll start with Billy on this one too, since he happens to work there. Should GameStop sell more retro games in store? I
am super happy you asked that, because I don't know if you guys have read yet, but they're actually opening retro GameStops. It's coming in. They haven't said what stores, and they haven't told us anything yet. But
that was my next question.
Yeah. Oh man. But it's cool though, because like from what I've seen, they're trying to aim more towards it. I can tell you from working at least Monroe, because Woodhaven's kind of like I love it. It's a great store, but like we don't get people that trade in retro like at all. So it's more rare for us. But like man, I mean working at Monroe, I would see retro stuff come in probably man, at least like 10 times a day. And here like every time we send stuff out, I mean, there's so much stock on all this stuff, and it's only on the website right now, which just always felt like a missed opportunity. And that's the other thing too, is like nobody ever knew what kind of stock we had, because you know, I mean, unless
it's
you
like is it backroom stuff then, basically?
not see, that's even the crazier thing, is like we have to send it to a big warehouse, so we don't even like I mean, besides what we take in, we don't see anything. So we have to actually like hand search it in the system, and if it's not in there, it won't tell us if it's not in there, and if it is in there, the numbers are wrong most of the time, so it's hard to see if we actually have that game in stock or not. So it's crazy, because you can't like with the retro stores opening, it's nice because people are actually gonna be able to see what we have and not just think we sell it online, which would be nice.
Is there a process that you guys go through to verify, or does that all happen at the warehouse when you guys take it in?
So here's the tricky thing. Yes,
there's not a lot of training, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna go into. Is like with my pay, or with how I have to hire people, a lot of them are really young, and like I mean, even my staff right now are probably 18, 19 years old. I think my youngest is like just turned 18, and they haven't even dealt with like older games like that before. So
N64, what't that?
Exactly. Oh my God! If I could tell you how many times I broke my heart in my store. But like it's crazy, because you won't know until like I myself verify it. But like even my staff, like they've taken in. I mean, I wish I had the cartridge. I actually have one like right somewhere, but it's a leaf green that somebody took in. That's a fake one, and it's
the Game Boy Color, or like Game Boy Advance. Oh really?
Yep,
like,
and it's fake.
Oh my
like straight
God.
up, you can tell it's fake. I wish I had it, man. It kills me.
That is disappointing.
But yeah, no, like stuff like that happens all the time. Like oh yeah, you know what? Here, I actually got, before I break everything. Really fun fact. Like this is not even a game, and somebody took this in.
What is that?
It was actually it's a Detective Conan fan make that somebody tried trading in.
It just says game.
Yep. So my staff tried trading it in, and then I stopped him, and I'm like, hey man, like what are you doing? And then the guy just was like, well, if it doesn't trade in for anything, just throw it away. So I was like, no, I want to show everybody. So I kept it. And
hey guys,
now I show it.
Take this in.
Exactly. It kills me every time. But that happens constantly, and that's why like they send out so many like flyers that are like, please make sure you're taking in the right thing, or please make sure you're doing it correctly, which is helpful.
That is good. I mean, like I was just curious with it, because I know that a lot of people are, like you said, young. So like a lot of them don't even like. I just, for example, on Reddit, I posted my entire Fire Emblem collection, right, which includes the little GameCube disc, right? And somebody said, "What's that little disc?" And I was like, well, first off, I was like, literally above the disc is the GameCube box, and it literally says GameCube, only for GameCube. I'm like, can't you read? Like, but then secondly, I explained it. I said, this is the mini disc produced by, I believe is it Panasonic? Yeah, Panasonic produced it with Nintendo together. They created that digital format, and I think it's called like a GD-ROM, or maybe that was Dreamcast, but. Yeah, and I was like, literally, it's right above the disc, GameCube. That's what that's for. And somebody's like, oh yeah, I forgot about the GameCube. Dude, that's so old now. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
Like, that hurts so bad to hear that. Like, God.
That's not even that old. Like, what, 06?
Yeah, man, it kills.
Really? It came out 06?
No. It was alive until 06. Then the Wii came out and just destroyed everybody with 100 million sales. Like the
Wii
PS4.
Sports, man. Yeah.
Yeah. The most sold Wii game of all time, Wii Sports.
I still get asked like every day about that game. Like that is probably one of the most sold still in my store.
Yeah, it's like $5. Here you go.
Yeah, every time. Just frisbees, man.
Okay, so the next question, or what was I gonna say? I had something in my. Oh, you know, Leaf Green. There was a Japanese green version in the Pokemon games on Game Boy Color. Did you
I want
know
to
that?
show you.
He's like, I have this.
I do. I've literally in my hands like a minute ago.
No, there was there was actually a green version in Japan. It legitimately exists, but not in America.
That's crazy. I can't even imagine because like I was introduced to blue, and I know blue wasn't in Japan. I heard about that.
Yeah, so green was Japan, blue was American, and then red was both because everybody loves Charizard.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
it's just like a flying dragon that breathes fire. Come on,
it's super awesome. All
who
of the
doesn't like that?
evolutions are
Who
cool.
doesn't like that? All right, so then the next question is the experiences we've had buying retro or older games. Like, what have we learned? How have we managed to buy things online, and what kinds of bad things and good things have happened? And I'll let Will start that off.
I have found out that I suck at doing it, and basically I get burned every time. So like something happens, like the disc is broken, or it's not the right disc. I've actually gotten like the case with the wrong disc in it. The manual is a picture, like it's just like the covering of the manual, but nothing else in it. And yeah, so basically that's why I don't like getting on eBay anymore, because I just can't do it.
On eBay, they have pictures, Will.
I know, but they never take pictures like of the inside of the manual.
I've had
So
better
it's like
luck with like.
They just show you the picture, and it's like, oh, well, clearly you have the manual because I see it in your hand, but nope,
What?
It's not.
Will, I'm so sorry, man. That sounds awful. I'd be so heartbroken to get it.
I've actually
From
gotten
now on,
something
Will,
from
just-
GameStop's website, and I actually got the whole thing, the entire complete package.
I was
That
gonna say,
oh,
it sounds like you have better luck just going blindly with online retailer at GameStop than eBay, and eBay has pictures.
I know.
Like-
I was like, it's terrible. Like I have the worst luck, or I'm an idiot, or both.
You know what? From now on, just let me log in. I'll find you.
You should.
From now
Yeah.
on, I am so good at eBay. You don't even understand.
You've got the
I got
eBay game figured out.
I got a $250 game, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, complete in box for $50.
Jesus.
Yep.
That's a really good deal, man.
I know. I was really happy with myself. I could not do the same thing with Revelations Persona, but that's a much more expensive, sought after game for no reason.
Oh, well, I got to give you credit, man, because I work at GameStop. I love GameStop, but like the 2 times that out of 4, 2 out of 4, I've gotten the GameCube game since like it's just the game, and then either it has like a big scratch going down it and it doesn't work, or something in between. But they were quick. I'll give them credit. Like even working there, they were quick to fix it. Because I couldn't fix my own problem. I had to send it in. But they were really quick and fast about it. But I was like, the first time I'm like, oh, come on, man. I really want to play Paper Mario. Like,
Right.
work.
Yeah.
Well, that is nice, though, because eBay's return policy is hit or miss. GameStop, I can take it to the store, hand it to an employee, and they will try to help me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I live in the city, so my neighbors will steal my packages. So I usually just send it to the store. I have them open it there, and then they'll test it in the store for me. So,
That's nice.
Yeah.
That is really nice.
That's how they
From
get
eBay?
that prestige. No, not from eBay.
No, that's another like really big thing. Like I love, again, like when I say I love GameStop, it's really it's weird. I've worked a lot of places. I've worked Best Buy, I've worked Myers, I've worked like the Myers for like a day, but but like out of all of the like companionship, I guess, out of all the places I've worked, like GameStop just always feels like a place that they always treat you right. Because I went there, I was a customer before I worked there. Like it's just nice. I don't know. I can't swear by it enough. Even though I work there, and I should like, it's totally like written on my face. I enjoy working there.
Yep, I have 2 GameStops really close to me. They're only a couple of blocks from each other. And the one is a Prestige, and I love going there. There's a guy who works there called Chris the Great, and he introduces himself as Chris the Great. And then the other
It's just me in a mask.
Yeah. You've turned into a really big black man then. But so the other store is just like all of the bad stories you can imagine. They're always trying to push stuff on you. and they're constantly telling you to buy extra things that you don't need. It's awful. So I always go to the other one.
That might generate a lot of sales, but it won't get you a prestige doing that.
No, that's the thing that's like rough too. Is like, because like, you know, I know GameStop. I don't want to say they pressure you to do it, because like they really have taken a step back from pressuring people.
It sounds like that stopped happening like 3 years ago or so.
Yeah, like once I started, I know they changed a lot. Like my hire date, like everything changed like a month before that. So I was like stuck in the brand new stuff. But even us, like I tell my staff the same thing that I told Monroe. Like if it's not going to benefit them, like what's the point? Like it's don't offer them something that they don't need.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the problem that GameStop faces is it's existed long enough. Like that quote, right? You live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like Batman, it's so true. Like something's around long enough people are going to dislike it. It's literally going to happen no matter what. Eventually, people will not like Amazon. Eventually, people will not like Walmart, which people already don't, right? If you last long enough, people will not like you, right? So, and then there's a culture thing too. Like you've got people from the time period where that was going on that probably still act that way. And it's it's just like when you get like some old dude that worked somewhere 30 years, he's not going to change. So either he's going to leave at some point, or he's going to keep doing what he's doing until he gets let go.
Oh man, that's like, and it sucks too, because like there's a really big gap if you ever meet like older GameStop employees, like people that have been there for like 4, 5, 6 years. Because I'm going on 3 years, but like I'm still I think 2 years and 6 months. But like if you meet a lot of older GameStop people, they hate it with a passion. Like most of them you meet are like, yeah, they beat us and they killed us, and like, and that's, you know, that's fair, because at one point it was a toxic culture for a minute. But if you look at it like now, if you look at like all the younger, newer store leaders, and when I say younger, I mean like newer in terms of being hired there,
like actual age of the employment.
Right. Not like babies, but but it's cool to see, because like a lot of the time they're stoked. Like, I mean, people like me like lead this new age of GameStop managers where everybody is like happy to be there and not like, oh my god, why do we have to be here today? Like, who opened? Like, it's crazy. But I don't know, that's how I feel, at least. It's nuts.
I feel like if you lose the passion in what you're doing, you just shouldn't do it anymore. You know, or find a way to get reignited in your passion, right? So if you love video gaming, I would expect that type of person to be in the store, right? And some people, it'll just be a job, and that's what it is. Like, you know, but if you're going to have a more niche audience, which I guess video gaming is not really a niche anymore, it's kind of everywhere. If you're going to have something that people really enjoy and come in to buy things they really enjoy, you have to kind of be excited about it. And I always admired that about you, Billy. I come in there, you just got this bright, smiling face, ready to help the customer. I want to get you the game you want right now, right here. I got you, buddy.
Chris, you make me happy, man.
That really made me happy to come to GameStop. I went in, I was so sad you were gone. I was like, we got to get Billy on the podcast.
Chris is having been a bromance going on. Goodness.
Like, I missed you. So, like, listen, like when I left, like, being there was so nice, because there was like Monroe is such a different place, and like people like you, Chris, and even meeting you now, Will. But it was like everybody was so welcoming and so nice, because I was terrified. That was the first store I ever ran, and like I was nervous that I was gonna bash it into the ground. And
so I just want to put this out there, and Will, did you have any more to say on that topic?
No, other than that, unless I get into my getting the wrong console and everything like that.
Oh God, I forgot about that. No, let me do this first.
That might be another one.
I think this is something people need to understand. Okay, physical gaming ends with the end. If GameStop goes under, physical gaming is essentially done. I don't think people really appreciate what GameStop does for the industry. Like, I'm really nervous because Amazon can sell me a digital code in 2 seconds, right? That is going to happen with every game if GameStop ever goes under. And I really hope that we never get to that point. I think retro gaming is a good place for them to go to, start selling that stuff in the stores. I think that's a great idea. And I was curious because I saw something different the other day. I saw board games at a GameStop. Is that something that's going to be happening more, or just an experiment? What is going on with that?
So they tested the market starting I want to say last year, and that's cool too because you can actually pre-order board games now, which is
I thought that was
crazy.
Cool.
But yeah, no, they tested the market, and board games were like for a hot a whole quarter of the fiscal year, like board games were going crazy. People were coming up in like waves. I mean, every time new ones would come out to us because nobody expected it to be there. So for a good chunk of time, we'd have the people that were like hardcore board game fans coming in, buying them really quickly because again, like, you know, it's like finding like a Hot Topic pop vinyl at like at a gas station. Like it's somewhere you would just never expect it to be. And so like like they started pushing them really hard, and it's cool too because like even now like we have a dedicated board game section like in our planogram for what we have to do. So there's like almost, I'm gonna say, give or take, like 3 foot and going up to, and that's like 3 foot wide and then going up to the ceiling, like almost all board games.
Yeah, like I saw like Legend of Zelda Monopoly was in there, and like some various niche, like I think I saw there's a board game, Dark Souls, the board game. I could have swore I saw that at GameStop, and I was like, really? Like these are more like collector's items kind of games, you know? Like these are more like the stuff people are really going hard after if you're like really into board games. Like I was like, that's kind of cool because these mom and pop board game shops, there's not a lot of them in this area. It's kind of a very small set of businesses that actually do that in this area. So if GameStop, a big company like that, can do it right, then you can get these more niche games without having to go online. And I personally love to buy things when I see them in store versus you never know what you're going to get.
Hold something before I get it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was like, that would be really neat if GameStop sold that kind of a thing. You know, and obviously you're not going to have like a whole dedicated wall to board games. That's probably never going to happen. But to have a shelf or two, that's cool.
Well, like on that, like just on the topic of like holding things in general, that sounds weird, but it's really cool to hear too, like just on the topic of physical gaming, that the new generation of consoles are putting out physical like disk drives for all their stuff, which makes me like, even job security aside, because like again, even if I lost GameStop, like I have 2 pretty good sources of places I could work right after, but I don't want to because I enjoy what I like. I enjoy people. I enjoy talking to people about this stuff, but yeah, no, that was just really interesting and really cool to hear that they're not going straight digital. Yeah, no, that's it. This is really excited.
So then brings us to our last question on the retro gaming topic. Why do you collect games? Billy, you can start it if you want.
Okay. Listen, like GameCube, my brother got a PS2 when he was a kid. And broke it 55,000 times.
That many,
oh my god, if I could tell you how many PS2s we bought.
You're the reason they sold 155 million. No.
I made a GameStop go in business for like a whole month, but we were all getting our systems, and like my brother already got the PS2, so there was no point. And then my sister didn't play games, and I was like, you know, like I really enjoy Smash Brothers. Like I love the N64, and I loved playing the crap out of that when one of my childhood best friends would bring it over all the time. And then I picked up the GameCube. And like I had a giant collection, and I just kept collecting because the games were cheap then. Like you could get them for like pretty cheap because it wasn't. I mean, you guys know it. GameCube was considered technically a failure at one point, so games started going lower in price. So you could get, you know, like Nintendo games for pretty good price at the time. But I had like 78, 79, something around there by the age of like 13, and then we had a house fire. And,
oh no!
Yeah, and that's the thing is like they didn't even burn, but smoke damage got all of the covers, and they were like, yeah, they're toxic. We gotta throw them away. So we had to chuck everything. But coming into GameStop and like working here again, not again, first time, I guess. But like working at GameStop got me seeing all these things coming in and seeing all of these awesome, titles that people just didn't care about anymore. And to me, like it restarted my passion for it. Because I had a passion before, like I enjoyed it and I had a little bit of a collection going, but like seeing it in person, kind of like what you were saying earlier, Chris, like having something, tangible.
That was Will.
Oh, Will, sorry, God. But like you were saying, Will, having something tangible in hand is just like a different feeling, and that's what made me start collecting. And now I'm back up to like 118 out of, I think it's 661 for the North American release.
Is that for the GameCube?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize there was that many.
Yeah, 661 is what I believe. Like that's what every collector keeps saying, but you will figure it out.
It's insane to me, like just before we get into the why Will collects games, it's insane to me that the Nintendo 64 has like essentially 20 games that everybody loves, but it's considered a success. And then the GameCube has like an infinite number of insanely good niche titles, and it's considered a failure. The only thing they're basing that on is the 24, I think it's 24 million sales of the GameCube versus 32 million sales of the N64. I think that's the total number, if I remember correctly. And it's like, what, 8 million difference? I mean, the GameCube still sold out or beat the Wii U.
Oh,
yeah,
by like 10 million units or something.
It was so passionate. It was such a passionate project.
I know, right? But to me, it's like so the N64 is a success and everybody loves it. And then the GameCube, almost nobody talks about it anymore. But it sold less units and had more good games. Kind of like the Wii U versus the Wii, right? Sold a lot less systems, but had a lot better games.
Oh, man.
And it can play the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Will, why do you collect games?
I mean, I'm not going to say I've really started collecting. I really just go through and buy series and games that I really like. And I've started to realize that my shelves are starting to get kind of heavy. And it's just kind of happening by itself. But honestly, I love video games. So I really just go through and I find games that I like and genres that I like, and I keep adding to the collection. And I mean, I'm one of those people, I probably will never buy a game just to get it. I'm gonna buy a game to play it.
Yep.
So
even if you never get to it.
Yeah, I know, exactly. There's quite a few games I've never played, but in my head, I'm going to.
When I'm old and gray,
yeah,
I'll play this game.
I've stopped counting how many I have because I realized that I probably have too many, if there is such a thing. I'm never getting to them all. But yeah, that's why I get games. I really enjoy them. They've always been a comfort to me, especially like, whenever life gets hard. It's nice to escape into video games and books and stuff. So,
Will, I really agree. Like that's the one thing that always hurts me is like buying something to not play it, and I see so many people do that nowadays. And granted, I'm guilty of it myself, but like oh my God, it's so hard to watch somebody take something home that they're never gonna play. It hurts my heart.
Yeah.
Like when you see a 6-year-old take Tetris Ultimate home, and you're like, he's never gonna play that. That's just not gonna happen.
Every day, man.
There was one time. Did you watch the podcast where I was talking about Tetris, and I said I was literally in line at the Monroe GameStop, and I said I was in line behind 3 people who were all buying Tetris Ultimate, the VR game.
Mm-hmm.
3 people literally in front of me in line to all buy Tetris. I couldn't.
That's hilarious. That's right after I said like no one ever plays Tetris anymore, and you're like, whoa, Will.
I was literally in line behind 3 people.
What a weird like. Tetris. I hope they were all like none of them were friends. They didn't know each other in the slightest.
No, because it was like an older gentleman, like in his probably 40s, and then behind him was like a 6-year-old with their mom, and then behind that person was like. Honestly, like without sounding completely jerkish, a burnout. That's really what the guy looked like. And it's probably about our age.
Chris, come on, man. He's a pro at Tetris. Like that's what his skill is.
He's the only Twitch streamer that has like 1,000 followers watching him play Tetris.
It's intense every episode.
But anyways, the reason why I collect games, right? Well, I just kind of happened into it years ago. It just kind of happened where I just looked at my shelf and I was like, I have like 8 video game systems. It's like, but no, my sisters, when I was a kid, I was like, I don't know, 5. I would watch my sisters play Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past every day for like a solid, it was probably like 3 months. It felt like every day, and it felt like most of my life, but it was probably like 4 months, and it was probably like 1 day a week. But when you're 5, it feels like every day, and it feels like your whole life, right? So I would get on there and I would play, and I'd be like, don't really know what's happening, but my guy is moving around, and my sister was quick to point out, that's not you, that's the enemy. Like, oh, you're this guy over here. Like, this is actually you. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I would die. So as I got older, I was still so interested in this game my sisters had played years ago. And I looked on my shelf and I was like, there it is. It's still here. So I popped it in and I was like, this old game is great. And then we got the N64 a month later and I didn't touch it for like 3 years. But I knew it was still there. So I was like, so these old systems still exist. And I was like, this is cool. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, why would I trade in my old system? So I just never did. I would just keep keeping the old system and then get the new one and keep the old system and get the new one. And so my collection just kept expanding. And I'm looking at my shelf and I'm like, holy cow, like this fills up the entire shelf in the basement. It's like, dang, what happened? Well, now I've got the 2 kids and I'm married. So my gaming time is severely limited. So for me now, handhelds is like the only thing I can play, but I still collect these games for the various times that I can play them. So like I have Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE. Don't know when I'm going to finish that, but it is in my basement for me to finish when I have time. These are all games I will play, like Will Sing. Will play.
Yeah.
So like
Maybe.
there's like a couple of series that I absolutely love. Like there's the Persona series. Love that series.
That's the only series you play.
No, I play Fire Emblem and I have proof.
I have proof, dang.
That's why I've beaten Path of Radiance like 25 times.
Oh,
anyways.
The heart.
And then there's like Donkey Kong Country. I will always buy new Donkey Kong Country. My favorite platformer ever. Donkey Kong Country series. I play Mario too, but I'm really, really, really loving the Donkey Kong Country series. Like Tropical Freeze, that was some good stuff. I would love it if somehow Nintendo got Rare back in their wheelhouse with the original Rare team members to build a new Donkey Kong Country game, but it's probably not going to happen. So I'll settle for Retro Studios.
Okay, if they can do that, can they please build a Conker's Bad Fur Day just for me? Like that's all I want. Just one
HD remaster.
Please, I will sponsor what I will give them my kids, my anything they want. They can have it.
Just hire the ukulele team. They could probably do an okay job.
Please, I will. Oh my god. I literally broke a controller today having a like no joke, like this is for real. It's really weird, but I threw a controller as I was testing it today because somebody was talking about Conker and I overheard them from like across the store. And I was like, let me add on this. Come on, guys.
That's awesome.
What do they do if you accidentally break something?
Okay, I gotta pick my answer very carefully. I should say
I can cut this out if you want to take this off the record.
No, it's okay. I generally if I do drop it, which doesn't happen often, like even today, like I dropped it probably like 2 foot, and then I tested it after just to make sure too. But generally you defect it, so like you'll send it to the warehouse, and then they'll test it, they'll see if it's fixable. If it is fixable, they will repair it and then send it out to another GameStop. It's kind of cool because like even doing that, they kind of Frankenstein controllers like pre-owned wise. So if you ever look at like GameStop's pre-owned controllers, a lot of them are like imagine like the blue PS4 controller merged with like the Spider-Man one, so it has white buttons, blue case. Like it's weird, but it's they do it like a lot.
You know who covers that a lot on YouTube is Spawnwave. You ever watch Spawnwave?
I do.
So he has bought a lot of GameStop refurbished items just to examine them and see if they're like in every controller he's ever gotten. They're usually like really clean, really nice. He's always like super happy about the controllers. And then some of the consoles, he's just confused. He's like, it's got a GameStop refurbished sticker, but it doesn't look like it did anything. So he's not sure if they like swapped the case, if they replaced a power supply.
Oh my God!
And then sometimes he's really worried about it. He's like,
He
no.
was. So one time, I think he got a PS1, and that one was one of the ones he had an issue with. So what he did was he swapped the disc out. He knows all this stuff. He's like a repair tech guy kind of a thing. I think he's probably got his own store. I'm not positive, but I think he works at a local mom and pop shop. So he just examines it. He's just curious what the build quality of the GameStop refurbished or premium refurbished, I don't know what it's called anymore. But he just buys them and checks them out, sees if they're any good. My one time I bought a premium refurbished model was my Wii U, and that thing is chugging along no problem.
Yeah, my Wii U is fine.
That's nice to hear. See, I will give anybody, if people watch this, my best tip I always say to people is, you're not going to believe me either, is always go for the pre-owned over refurbished. It doesn't sound like there's a difference, but I promise you there is. For some reason, like, I don't know what it is. Percentage-wise, I get a lot more people bringing back, and it doesn't happen often. Again, like, I maybe get like a few returns like a month, and most of them are like, yo, I just overspent. But like, most of the time, like comparably, the pre-owned ones for some reason are always like issue free compared to the refurb. I don't know what it might be, because of like the shipping, because our shipping, like, we've had such a big issue at GameStop with the people that handle our shipping. Like, this is company wide, but yeah, it's really weird. For some reason the pre-owned ones work so much more better than the refurb usually.
Well, I can probably tell you why from an engineering standpoint, since I am an electrical engineer after all.
That works.
If you have to fix something, if you have to open something up and touch it, it's way more likely to fail. Just by sheer fact that you had to open it up and do something, it's because premature failures are way higher on the bell curve than something that's been functioning and traded in and working. Guaranteed every time. Premature failures rate is way higher than it's been working and it's still working.
I didn't know that, actually. That's really interesting to know.
So if you have to touch it or you have to do something to it, like if you have to do new leads on the solder for a power unit, or if you have to replace the disc tray, more likely one of the things that you touched is going to fail than something that's been running for the last 6 months. It's just a fact of life.
No, that's interesting. I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, if somebody trades in, like, just if it's 10 years old, it might be on the other end of the bell curve, and then when you sell it back out, yeah, that might fail. But if somebody had it for 2 years, traded it in, and then you had somebody trade in something broken, like let's say the Switch needed the screen replaced, right? If you have to resolder a screen into the Switch or whatever, however it's done, I haven't seen a Switch repair video. It's more likely to be loose, or it's more likely to have a bad solder, or maybe the new screen has already got a failure issue in it and you just don't know it yet. It's more likely. You got to look at what that premature failure rate is and examine the risk of replacement. Just a little tidbit from an engineer.
No, that's seriously. I'll take it all day, man. I never get, like, most of the other people have just got out of high school and can't tell me how to turn it on. So I take that all day.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
I'm Billy.
And we will see you
on the next CHRILLCAST.
BILLCAST.
BILLCAST.